So I've gotten some questions as to why it looks like I have extra blast gates in my dust collection system. So I figured I'd explain why and give an update as to some of my experiments I did on the machine itself. My little dust collector is a great little machine, but he's technically only rated to really be hooked up almost directly to a machine. So because I wanted all these ductwork pieces in so I wouldn't have to have a hose running all over the shop, I decided to try and make it a bit easier on him and put in extra blast gates. So even though I have two trunks, only one trunk is running at any time, and I can also cut that trunk in half. This blast gate here is actually cutting the floor tool trunk in half, and it means that I've got 3 tools on one side and about 4 tools on the other. It would have been better to get the jointer and the planer on the side closest to the machine, but that's just not how the layout worked in my shop. And these components were a little bit tough to put together. They don't necessarily blend well, but they do if you persuade them. I did make sure that my most used tool, my table saw, was on the side closest to the machine. That's this one right here I'm putting in. And if you're doing this yourself, I cannot stress enough, tape every single joint. There's some joints in those Ys that I really wish I had gotten taped before putting it together. Well, that's one side pretty much done. I did the same thing over on the other side with a main shutoff as well as a shutoff halfway through. The only difference is that my spindle sander is actually going to connect just before the main shutoff, because it's going to be so close to that main shutoff, it just didn't make any sense. If I put another piece on, everything would be moved down way too far and I'd lose valuable tabletop. To get the best airflow I could, all my ductwork for my trunks are 5-inch, but all my tools have an adapter of about 4-inch or smaller. So every single one of them had to have one of these reducers put on. Most of the reducers actually went after the blast gate, but because I had a 3-inch blast gate around anyways, to save some money, I put my reducer on beforehand. All the other ones just went on after. You can see here I've started to put the reducers on after the blast gates for all my other tools. And I also have this fun little feature now where I get a desk sweep. It's also because I have space for another tool, but I don't know what I want yet. The Y connection there is really tight and I'm not 100% satisfied with that, so I'll probably do a bit more later. But for now, I've got the main trunks pretty much set up. Need a few more blast gates and obviously hook up some machines. But the initial test went pretty well. And now, this feature isn't for everyone, because I know a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with the blast gates, always trying to remember which one they should be turning on and off. So this does take a little bit of getting used to, but it's worked out fairly well for me. And I've been using this system for a couple months now. Although I did tape most of the joints, I did have to go back a little while later and tape a lot more of the joints. I was losing way too much air in all the tiny little crevices of the metal ductwork. But other than that, this part of the system is working fantastic. This part of the system, on the other hand, not so much. Beautiful layers of dust there, right? Yeah, there's not supposed to be any dust in that bag. This, my supposed cyclone, is supposed to be catching most of it before it even gets to that bag. You see how full this is? Yeah, need to work on that. After shop backing up the dust, I tried to put my so-called cyclone back with just the bag in there, taking out the cage, which didn't work so well because, well, the cage is preventing the bag from being sucked in the machine, so the bag got sucked in the machine. So I decided to cut a bigger hole into the top of my cage to see if that would help things move along a bit better. I was trying to improve the suction on my machine. But I think this time I actually cut out too much material. So we'll give it another few months and see how well it does. After a whole lot of taping and this modification, the dust collector actually did improve quite a bit. But I'm going to give it another few months and see what else I might want to improve. Well, that's about it for now. I'll check back on this thing in another few months. But if you want to see some other wood chip Liz videos, click some of the links here, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time!